Kia ora. Welcome to the IFSA exam preparation workshop. Thank you for taking the time to watch this recording and invest in your exam success. In this workshop, I'll be covering some tips for time management and developing a study plan, as well as some study techniques and ways to look after yourself during what can potentially become a stressful period of time for some people. Beginning with time management. Time management is planning how to efficiently use and deliberately control the time you spend to maximize productivity. In short, you get more done in less time. Other upsides include better work quality, less stress, more time to work on strategic or creative projects, less procrastination, and more self-confidence. Firstly, knowing how you're spending your time. Just like creating a budget, you have to track what you're actually spending your time on to reveal any habits that are blocking you from reaching your goals. Time tracking apps can tell you how many hours you're productive in a day versus how much time you're spending on non-work related activities. To-do lists can be productivity lifesavers, but if you're not careful, they can get so big and overwhelming that you don't know where to start. It can be helpful to prioritize according to importance and urgency. More about that later. So number one would be doing immediately. Important tasks with defined deadlines or ones that you've put off for so long that they're now overdue. Number two, schedule for later. Important tasks with no defined deadlines. And number three, delete tasks that you can eliminate because they're not critical to your goals or your mission. That is how we would prioritize goals according to importance and urgency. Speaking of tackling the most difficult task first, you may have heard of this being referred to as the eat the frog method. This method works well for people who tend to procrastinate or have trouble avoiding distractions. It recommends tackling the biggest, most difficult, and most important task first, the one that you're likely to put off for later. Only move on to other things once you've eaten that frog. You want to create and stick to a daily schedule. Adherence is the key. Create a daily schedule with allotted time blocks for different tasks. Be realistic. Sticking to it is the key to success. Add time buffers or white space between tasks so that even if one goes over the time limit, the overall schedule still stays intact. Give projects your undivided attention. Avoid sneaking to non-work related sites, closing those for later browser tabs. Turn off your phone or stow it out of reach until it's time for a scheduled break. Self-discipline is your best friend here. Set reasonable time limits. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time allotted to complete it. If you have a full day to complete 2 tasks that should only take 3 hours, you'll probably still spend the whole day on those 2 tasks. If you give yourself a smaller window, chances are that you'll still meet the earlier deadline. Remember, during this potentially intense period, saying no to other things or people is a valid choice and has the potential to open up a future, more significant opportunity. Some more tips for effective time planning. Break big tasks into smaller steps. Don't overplan. It's inefficient and it leads to frustration. Track your progress and enjoy checking off completed tasks. Keep expectations realistic and review your progress and adjust and plan your plan as necessary. Study at short intervals over several days. Don't cram. Identify your best time to study. Review as soon after class as possible. Study the most urgent and or most difficult classes first when you're fresh. Eat that frog. Reassess regularly and reward yourself for work well done with a drink break, a walk outside, an episode of your favourite show or something like that. Do you ever find yourself postponing things you don't want to do, like boring or frustrating tasks, struggling to get started on things, waiting until the last minute before deadlines to get started, or putting off making decisions? That is procrastination, and most of us do it. The key to help yourself here is taking action. Figure out why and when you procrastinate. What situations or people are more likely to make you procrastinate? Assess your priorities and implement your plan. And here we are, study plan development. How much can you study without needing a break? Don't underestimate meal times, breaks, everyday activities, working out, things like that. Know yourself. When do you study best? Is it in the morning, afternoon, or later at night? With your calendar organised, you will see how much time you have available for studying. Let's learn a bit more about that on the next slide. So you want to gather notes first, do a general review, get a big picture frame of reference to help understand the material you'll be reviewing. What do you think will be on the exam? What format will the questions be in? The format of the question will heavily influence how you should prepare. What do you need to do to get ready? Organise your study space. Make sure you have enough space to spread out your textbooks and notes. Make sure the lighting is right, your chair is comfortable, things like that. Put distractions away in order to be as focused as possible. This depends on personal preference. Some enjoy studying in silence, while some enjoy some background noise. Gather resources in one place, subject resources and personal resources. Coursework, syllabus, lecture notes, past papers, past exams. Personal resources could be other students around you, lecturers, academic advisors, friends, family, your support network. There's a ton of different techniques to help you study based on your personal preference, as well as your subject and exam format. Here are a few. Memory techniques. While it's always better to understand the material as opposed to simply memorizing it, often memorizing is still necessary. Quizlet is one of my favourite tools for making virtual flashcards. I make Quizlets for every subject. Repetition helps me learn and visualizing the terms helps me to create tricks for memorization in my head. How do you learn? Are you visual with that you enjoy note-taking, summaries, mind maps, flashcards? Or are you more auditory with flashcards, repeating the questions and answers out loud, involving yourself in study groups, kinesthetic activities, mind maps and puzzles? Or do you prefer group work? Study sessions with friends can be extremely helpful for answering questions that you don't know, or reviewing topics that you're confused about. Talking aloud about the subject will help to confirm what you know and review what you don't know. Just make sure to stay focused on the topic. Practice with old exams. This is one of the most effective ways to prepare for exam. This helps you to get used to the way the professor thinks and writes problems. They provide a test of your knowledge and can point to the areas that need additional study and work. And in regards to essay writing, skeleton essays and essay plans, you can practice writing main headings related to plan structure with associated arguments, examples, and references without the actual full content of the essay. And timing. This can be useful to plan how you will allocate your time within the exam. It's more relevant for exams that will have essays in them. Self-compassion, talking back to your inner critic. Treat yourself and your actions as you would a close friend. Instead of getting down on myself for not accomplishing everything on my to-do list, I let myself know that it's okay. You did what you could today, and you'll try your best again tomorrow. Self-care routines. You can type these in a note on your phone with the labels small, medium, and large so that you can refer to that note anytime you feel overwhelmed and need to take a moment to yourself. You can have a few different routines stored, as sometimes the same thing does not work every time. It's really important to communicate your struggles. Around exam time, students can be reluctant to share their difficulties with others for fear of others having it worse than them or not wanting to add to friends' stress around exam time. This comparison and overthinking can lead to avoidance and minimization of your feelings, which will eventually lead to a buildup of unacknowledged emotions that may affect your mental health worse than if you were to handle them in the moment. If you don't want to talk to a friend, reach out to your SEC or your student care team on campus. Some ways you can deal with anxiety around exam time is to develop good study habits and manage your time. Build relaxation time into your schedule, get plenty of sleep and exercise, take breaks and don't overstudy, use breathing techniques, and talk to someone if you need to. Avoid these common mistakes in order to have successful exam results. Leaving studying until the last minute, reading and writing the same notes over and over again, writing out full essays and learning them by heart, panicking, boredom or distraction, prioritizing studying last, and giving up too soon. Exam logistics. Before the exam, double check the date and time of your exam. Even if you think you know when it is, double check. There's been lots of students in the past that have gotten the time wrong or the date wrong. Find your classroom beforehand so you know exactly where you're going. Be on time or early for the exam. Plan how long it takes to get to the actual examination room. Bring pencils, pens, calculators, and whatever you need and as a proof for that subject examination. Do not carry any notes on your person. Drink plenty of water and eat breakfast the day of the exam. Make sure you have everything ready well in advance of the exam. Don't leave it to the day before to realise you don't know where the exam room is or what you're expected to bring. During the exam, read instructions carefully. Put your name on every page of the paper. Read all potential options and questions. Take your time, don't rush. Read all parts of a question before beginning to answer. If there is a question you cannot answer, leave it and continue with the rest of the paper. Come back to it later and give your best effort. And leave 10 minutes at the end to check your work if you can. So here's some resources available for you on campus. Your professor or course coordinator or tutor, you can email them, stay behind after class, or visit during office hours to communicate any concerns you may have around exam time. The student care team can provide support to any students who are falling behind in class, feeling unmotivated to study, or juggling lots of commitments. And the Academic Skills Centre. They provide workshops to help with time management, revision, and exam skills and more. Both the Student Care and Academic Skills Centre resources are free and they can be found in the library. Island Apartments will often provide free breakfasts, pancake nights, and more social or food-related events so that you can easily stop by, grab a bite, and then get back to the books. So now, time to take action. Write 1 or 2 goals that you wish to set for yourself in regards to your upcoming exam preparation. Consider 3 places that you like to study. Think of a couple of 5-minute, 10 to 15-minute, and 20 to 30-minute self-care activities you can use during study days. Save them as notes in your phone. That closes out this presentation. On behalf of IFSA and myself, we wish you a successful study break and exam period. You can refer back to these slides again as you go on to develop your study plan. And as always, please reach out to me if you'd like some extra support during this time. Kia ora.